Live, we live, we live. Hi, everyone. Robin, thank you so much for joining us. First of all, you look amazing, and I'm loving this Black Lady Sketch Show promo. Right?
I had to do it. I had to do it.
So before I introduce Robin and all of her many accolades, and we start with a little Q&A, I'm Ariana Davis, digital director for Oprah Magazine, and also co-founder of HBC, along with Sandy, who wanted to just fill you in a little bit, Robin, on Hearst Black culture and what we do over here. Sandy, your turn.
Yes. So thank you so much, Robin, for joining us. You are one of our faves, so we're so happy to have you. And like Ariana said, I am one of the co-founders of Hearst Black Culture, and Hearst Black Culture was started a little over a year ago. So it was more so because of the lack of representation that there was at Hearst Magazine. So we wanted to create a safe space for Black employees, be a sounding board for Hearst editorial. If they're working on any pieces, we can be, that gut check for them, as well as Hearst help HR recruit more diverse talent. So we started these bikinis, in April, and it's just been grown since then. So we're so excited to talk to you and, have some fun kiki.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Yes.
For all who are tuned in, I am so excited to introduce our guest of honor, Robin. So I'm going to do my little reading of the bio real quick.
Oh, God, please don't. Make it short.
I'll do the short version. So Robin Thede is a multi-talented comedic writer, performer, and producer known for her hilarious characters and social and political commentary. She is the creator, showrunner, executive producer, writer, and star of HBO's Emmy-nominated variety sketch series, A Black Lady Sketch Show. In film, Thede was most recently seen in Justin Simien's Dear White People's horror satire, Bad Hair, which is coming out, I think, on Hulu in October. And previously, she was the creator, executive producer, writer, and host of The Rundown with Robin Thede on BET, where she made her mark as one of the only Black women to ever host a late-night TV talk show. So there is much more on her resume, but that is the short version, just to kind
Okay, but I'm offended because we know each other, and it's Thede.
Oh my gosh.
You know that. You know that, and I know you know that.
It is Robin Thede, for everyone who also forgets. I always forget that because of my mind.
I know that. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I can't even fault you because I'm like, I know you know, so we're going to chalk it up to quarantine.
Also, I remember the first time that we met when I was like, it's a Black Lady Sketch Show. And you were like, it's a Black Lady Sketch Show. You're right. My bad. I'm so sorry.
I'm the worst. I correct people all the time. You got to let people know. You gotta let people know.
When people call me Ariana, and I'm like, it's Ariana actually, but anyways.
There you go.
So we have lots to talk to you about. We also have a fun game that we're going to play in a little bit, because every time we invite special guests over to our little HBC meetings on Zoom, we have to have a little fun. But first, I just wanted to, for everyone who is getting to know you for the first time, first tell us, how has the pandemic been for you? What's been your situation? Are you based in LA? And how have you been holding up over these past, 6 months now, I think?
I mean, 6 years. It might as well be at this point. I've been holding up well. I mean, for the most part. I think, there's two things, right? So there's the pandemic, and then there's also the renewed interest in Black Lives Mattering, which is, a whole separate conversation. So as far as COVID is concerned, the beginning was really, really tough, because we were about to shoot our second season for a Black Lady Sketch Show, and we got shut down on Friday the 13th of March. So like a lot of people, that was really tough. And I had to really, once I realized it was going to be a while that we were in this, that was really hard. And over the past couple of months, I've been writing some other things and had lots of other things kind of brewing that I didn't have time for when I was making the sketch show. So that's been nice, but I am very anxious to get back to shooting. And if LA people would just put a mask on, that would be nice. And the numbers are going down little by little, but not enough, not like New York. So, it's trying to get that back up has been tough. But then in terms of everything that happened with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and all of these amazing people who lost their lives so viciously, I think that's been really heavy. But what I've been telling people is that, as Black people, that's something that we were dealing with before May of 2020, and we've had to live with those things and deal with that on an everyday basis. And not only these massive social things that are being put to the forefront, but also microaggressions at work and being the only Black person in a place where you work, and how that is not only tokenism, it's violence. Like, I've been speaking out about all of these things. Like, we have to, everybody's coming to me saying, oh, now we want to hire Black people. Do you have any? And I'm like, yes, but I'll only send them to you if you agree to hire 2. Don't leave us as the only. Please don't do that to us. But you know, I think so. This whole time has been heavy, but also extremely creative for me in bursts. And then super sad in some parts because I miss my friends, I miss my family. And then really restful in some other ways because it forces you to sit down sometimes. But so it's been kind of all over the places. I think a lot of people can relate.
Yeah, I think it's definitely been, I think all over the place is definitely a good way of putting it. And I mean, March 13th, that's literally right when the pandemic hit and you guys were supposed to start filming, but we all are big fans of A Black Lady Sketch Show. For anyone who hasn't seen it or wants to know the backstory, can you tell us a little bit about where the idea for a sketch show for Black women, where did that idea come from, and how did you actually make it a reality?
Yeah, well, for me, I've been doing sketch for, 2 decades or more. So for me, it was always my dream. 90% of the women that I've performed with in sketch have been Black women. So I've been very lucky in that way. And all the live theater shows I was doing at Second City. And then when I came out to LA and had a team at Improv Olympic and Second City out here. And, you know, I've been always very active in the improv and sketch community. So, that was always the dream. I've been on a number of sketch shows. I've been on 6, I think, before this, and none of them went past the first season. But so I knew when it was time for me to create my own, that I wanted to make it really special and I wanted to make it stand out amongst the others. And so for me, it was just a calling I've always had. I've been shooting sketches since I was 13 years old. And, you know, a lot of people might remember my early work from YouTube and Funny or Die days from viral videos. So I've been doing sketch a really long time. And even on my late night shows, I was doing, even when I was head writer at Leah Wilmore's show and on my own late night show, The Rundown, I was also doing sketches. So it's always been a part of my career and a part of my dream. So when I was still doing The Rundown, I actually pitched this show to another network and they bought it, but we didn't close paperwork because the budget wasn't where I needed it to be. So I thought, well, maybe it's not going to happen right now. And then while we were still negotiating that, my late night show got canceled, and Issa Rae, who executive produces alongside me on the show, called me and said, what are we going to do together? You're free. You're never free. What are we going to do together? And I said, well, you know, I have this sketch show at another place. And what do you think about us finding a new home for it? She said, bring it to HBO. And I had already had a relationship there with the executives there. So I went in and I pitched it and they bought it in the room and sent us straight to series. So it was a strong pitch.
I mean, if they bought it in the room, like that is how you know, like, oh, I went in there and I killed it. What was the response like from what you saw from the first season? And is there a favorite sketch in particular that like is your favorite? I don't know if that's like picking a favorite child, but.
Yeah, I can't pick a favorite sketch. I mean, I can say which ones people have watched the most, which seem to be the fan favorites. But honestly, it's like I mean, all of our sketches are pretty much, I think most of them are in the millions of views on YouTube. And then obviously we had 2 million viewers a week on HBO and HBO platforms, and then have since had tens of millions of more. I mean, we have hundreds of millions of views across all platforms on our sketches. So that's obviously resonating with people. So, you know, I think about, so like we have different sketches that do really well with different demographics, right? So the aunties and the moms love the Patti LaBelle sketch. Like that is their jam. It's called On My Own. It's about Ashley Nicole Black's character. Every time she gets broken up with, Patti LaBelle comes and won't leave till she sings with her. So it's like kind of the spirit of Patti LaBelle that haunts you every time you have a breakup and sings On My Own. So that one is the most popular on Facebook with the aunties and the mamas and the grandmas. But on YouTube, it's Bad Bitch Support Group with Angela Bassett. And on Instagram, it's Between No Makeup, which is a sketch about what happens, what you look like when you don't have makeup on at work and how somebody can look like they're dead. And we took that to a comedic extreme. So that one was popular and has millions of views because of makeup influencers who were like passing it along. And then Basic Ball, which is a Pose parody, but for basic people who aren't as fabulous, was big, obviously, in the LGBTQ community. And then Hertep Homecoming, which is this sketch where I play Dr. Hadassah Olayinka Ali Youngman pre-PhD, as everyone knows, is the female version of a Hotep, is what we call a Hertep. She's just kind of the biggest one on Twitter, which is weird because I don't think of a place as that, like Twitter is a place people go to watch sketch, but it's got, you know, millions of views on Twitter. So I think it's hard for me to pick a favorite because I love all of those. And then the one that people say to me most when they come up to me on the street is they always go, Black Lady Courtroom. So that I love because people will like change the words to match whatever, like, you know, Black Lady Dog Park or whatever, you know, they'll just say Black Lady whatever. And that makes me so happy because it's been such like a zeitgeisty kind of thing. So I think for me, I find joy in so many of them for different reasons. I love the Chris and Lachelle sketches. I love the 227 reboot. I mean, there's so many great sketches I love.
So how have you guys been preparing for this new season while in a pandemic? Are you have you still been writing at all, or were you guys already kind of done with the writing phase?
No, done with the writing. Writing's done. Writing was done. We were ready to roll cameras, so there's nothing to do but shoot it. Some of the stuff will have to change because we can't have, 100 extras in a sketch or kids and dogs and that kind of stuff. So it has to be a little stripped back in that way, but none of the content will suffer and none of the acting will suffer, hopefully. So hopefully I still show up and do what I need to do. I know my cast is going to bring it. So, and we were already had an interstitial storyline. The show within a show was already about 4 women quarantining in a house at the end of the world. So, we were already ahead of the curve on that.
You guys, maybe you saw this coming, or you jinxed us, one of the two.
Yeah, I saw it coming. As soon as Trump got in office, I was like, well, he's gonna kill us.
So rewinding, because you have, as you said, been doing comedy for so long, do you remember, when did you first fall in love with comedy? When did you first know this is my passion and this is what I want to do with my life?
Yeah, I think I was a kid and I saw Whoopi Goldberg's one woman show on PBS and she was playing all these different characters. And I watched SNL with my dad, but I didn't see a lot of Black women on there, obviously. But I saw Whoopi Goldberg. And then by the time In Living Color came, I was old enough to understand that like this could be a job. And I really just like was so in awe of those women. And I loved Kim Wayans so much. And, there were so many, and the things that silly Maya Rudolph does, are so funny to me. And, so I think that there's a lot of influences I had growing up that showed me that Black women could be silly and play characters and do all of that, but I still didn't feel like there were enough. It was still kind of all on one hand. And, I auditioned for SNL in 2013 and got close, but didn't get it. And, I think that was like, part of me was like, okay, this will either be the end of an era for me or the beginning of an era. And it ended up being a really beautiful beginning and leading me into late night where I was still doing sketch sort of things. And then eventually back to my own fully fledged sketch show. So it's really worked out perfectly.
You have, even as I was reading your bio, there's so many things in your resume that you were the first Black woman to, a lot of those kind of accolades. Does it ever feel surprising to you that we still are saying someone is the first Black woman? Crazy.
All the time. And I always say it's very bittersweet to have all of those firsts because it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be still this club where we're shut out of things. And so, even for our director, Dawn Davis, who's currently nominated for directing for this show, she's not only the first Black woman to be nominated for directing variety sketch, but the first Black woman, if she wins, she'll be the first Black woman to win a directing Emmy across all genres, which is insane. That a Black woman director has never won for TV directing in the history of television. What is that? And same with our show. If we win, we'll be the first sketch series created by and starring, written by, directed by Black women. So, all of that is, I guess it's great to have a title. It's great to be a first, but in 2020, it don't have that same vibe to it as it would have 50 years ago, Yeah.
I'm hoping that, as you said, since people are finally deciding Black Lives Matter, maybe this will stop being such a surprise and such a first moving forward. But before we get into our game, I know that we had a couple questions for my fellow panelists. So Nneka, I'm going to throw it to you. I know you had a question for Robin that you wanted to ask her.
Yes. Hi, Robin.
Hi.
Hi. I'm Nneka. And my question is about your upcoming horror satire created by Justin Simeon of Dear White People called Bad Hair. Literally, we've all had the bad hair days and the bad salon experiences, especially being a Black woman with 4C hair. I can relate. The trailer, like, oh, that was me. Maybe that's who I love. There, I know you. So what can you tell us about it? What scoop can you give us?
Well, okay, so I'm not a producer, a writer, a director, or anything on that project. I am just an actor on that project, and that is Justin's baby. But I will tell you, I'm not going to tell you anything that's not already out. I mean, the movie is a horror satire about a killer weave. I mean, I think that that's pretty obvious from the trailer. And it is truly some of the most fun outside of the sketch show that I've ever had on a set. The talent, the roster of people in that movie is unbelievable. You're going to be constantly surprised. There are people who aren't even in the trailer, and I'm like, oh, they don't even know so-and-so's in the movie. Like, yeah, I was happy. I was happy I made it in the trailer. I'm barely in the trailer. Yeah, it's wild. It's really wild. I will say, people have been asking me, okay, is it funny or is it scary? And I'm like, yes.
It's everything. Don't worry.
And by the way, it's set in 1989. So some people are like, why does it look like that? And I'm like, because it's set in 1989, which I don't think that was like clear, but it's also like, if you're living for hairstyles and clothing, it is like, it's a vibe. So it's really, really fun.
The throwback bang. You know.
Yeah, the throwback bang.
I saw those, like, not the bang. It's gonna be good.
And I will tell you, Lena Waithe is so funny in this. She and I get to play probably the silliest characters just because we're so like all the way into these characters that we play. Like, everybody's all the way in, like everybody's really, really good, but some roles are more dramatic, and then some of ours are more like evilly funny, which is very fun. The last third of this movie will have you not breathing for many reasons, because you're scared and laughing and at the same time. It's truly one. I've never seen anything like it. I think it's going to be a big, like, cult hit for people. It's definitely like, I know, you know, a lot of Black people, a lot of us do not watch scary movies, but there's so much relatability because of the hair struggle. It's truly worth it alone for the commentary on hair. And I think everybody will walk away feeling seen and feeling like, oh, we haven't talked about hair like that in a public space in a fictional sense, not since Chris Rock's documentary. So I think what he's done is really genius. And I think it's really an homage to the Black women in his life. And I'm so proud of Justin. But it's wild. It's wild.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to put October on my calendar.
There you go.
Because it's going to be next week at this point. We're moving.
I know.
It'll be here before I know it. Thank you so much for answering my question. And now I'm going to pass it to Sandy because she also has a question.
Hey, Sandy.
So my question is similar to why HBC was actually started. So you did an interview earlier this summer about how Hollywood needs to create more space for Black people to tell our stories. What do you think is like the first step to that, to getting there?
Continuing to hold their feet to the fire. I think we have to continue to hold Hollywood responsible. And I'm going to continue to say those things. I mean, in all this press that we've been doing, you know, I've been doing a lot of press leading up to Emmys, and all I do is use that time to talk about how Black people can be, you know, employed. And when they are employed, how they can be useful in those positions. Because if you're just hiring Black people and not changing your work environment, what are we doing? Because we can't just walk into the system that has never allowed us to be there. So in terms of Hollywood, I think, you know, my specific call was for Hollywood to greenlight more modern Black stories, because, you know, it was at the time when The Help was #1 and, you know, 12 Years a Slave. And it's like, okay, those are great projects, like not taking away anything from those. But even Viola Davis came out and said, I wish I hadn't done The Help, you know, which is a shame, because I think it was a good project to do. Listen, we're all going to do projects that are not necessarily your passion project or, you know, Angela Davis approved, but I don't think anybody's sold out to do that movie or anything. You know what I mean? Like, I just think that at the end of the day, Hollywood has to do a better job of letting us tell our stories at every level. So that means we need showrunners, we need directors, we need executives, because otherwise the only thing that's getting greenlit are the stories about us being slaves or maids or, you know, those sorts of things. And I think there is value in telling those stories, but we've seen with those stories, we need to see things like Insecure. We need to see things like a Black Lady Sketch Show. We need to see Black women playing roles that are normalizing us in the modern age. Because if you can't see us now, if you can't see us in 2020 as whole people, then A, how do we tell our stories, but B, how do we ever actually attain equality? Because, right, that's all we're asking for. No one's asking for, well, some of us are asking for reparations, but in general, all we truly want is to be able to walk into any work environment, to any social environment, and be treated as a normal human being. That is what Black Lives Matter is, period. It's we want to know that our lives matter, and we haven't felt that way. So I think in Hollywood, it's the same thing. Our stories matter, our voices matter, our creatives matter. And so we have to be able to give Black people green light power and not just make them heads of diversity at studios. We have to be able to have writers incorporated into writers' rooms in real ways, have their opinions be valued and listened to in real ways, and have showrunners, executives, and anybody in positions of power all commit to unconscious bias training so that they understand that the ways, their microaggressions and the ways they communicate to us and just saying, well, all right, girl, when I give a good pitch is aggressive and an aggression. And putting on a Black scent when a Black person comes in the room, or looking to the Black person to have all the answers about all the Black people. All of those things are violent acts in the workplace. And I use that term, it sounds very aggressive, but it truly is violence. And you look up this term about allostatic load, which has to do with the amount of weight we carry by constantly having to be judged and judge ourselves in every environment we're in, let alone generational trauma from slavery. But I'm getting into my thesis now. But anyway, so those are all the things that I think Hollywood needs to do. And they have to give up some positions and let some Black people step into them.
Hello.
So
Yeah.
It's gonna hurt, but it's gotta happen.
And knowing that we're not all the same, we're so versatile. So like
we're not all the same.
Things another Black person could think something completely different.
That's right. And that's part of the burden that we all feel now, is having to answer all of those questions for every Black person. And so what I always challenge people to do, like I said, all the shows that have been saying, oh, do you have a Black writer? I said, I'm going to send you 40 and you should hire 2 at a minimum. And all the shows I've said that to have done that. Haven't been many yet, but there have been a few, and a few very, very important ones that really needed it. So, you know, I think, look, is everybody going to have an all Black woman writer's room like I do? No, but I don't expect them to. You know, not every story also calls for that. But to say that Black people can't like write in a period piece or something is like, well, were we not alive? Because as I remember, life started in Africa. So, you know, but anyway, so I think the biggest thing is that we have to be able to be in charge of our stories, and we have to, people just got to get out of our way. I'm not saying write us blank checks. Like, I got to HBO and got a series order because I have 20 years of a proven track record, you know? Like, no one is saying like, just pick somebody off the street and give them a television show. Like, we're saying the people that are worthy, the people that have been doing the work, give them their shot and stop asking them to prove themselves over and over.
And pay them what they're worth.
Oh, well, hello. That part.
They don't hear us.
That part.
They don't hear us.
They will. They have to.
All right. So we're going to get into something fun. A little game of Black Card Revoke that we love to play with our guests. And
oh God, I'm terrible at this game. Okay, all right.
Okay, but Christine is going to help you. So we won't.
Okay, thank you, Christine.
Robin. So we're going to get into a game really quickly. It sounds like you've heard of it before, but we're only going to
special version for a Black Lady Sketch Show. We did a special version of Black Card Revoke, actually.
I have a feeling you're really going to love these questions. So
okay, all right.
Some of them are multiple choice and some are majority rules. So we're going to ask the audience, when you see the question, choose whatever it is that you want for those majority rules questions. So without further ado, we're just going to throw the question up there. All right, so first question. What was the professor's name on the Parkers? This is a multiple choice question, so there is a correct answer for this. Is it
Oh no.
Daryl? Is it B, James, C, Philip, or D, Stanley?
Oh my God. Okay, I can see his face. Okay, it's not. I know two of them, it's not. Okay, it is. Wait,
Professor Ogilvy.
is it Stanley?
It is Stanley. Yes, it is.
Oh, thank God.
Good job. All right, so you're 1 for 1, which is good. Let's see the second question if we'll get
I
that.
was like, all I can think of his last name.
All right, question 2. What's most liable to get you
Oh, I
caught
love these.
at the cookout? Is it A, messing up the potato salad, B, reneging during spades, C, not bringing anything, or D, walking in and not speaking? Now, this is
Okay,
a
now-
majority rules
Yeah,
question, so
yeah.
whichever answer has the most.
I already know. I already know. There's only one right answer here. Like they will all get you cussed out. What will guarantee get you cussed out is spades. Hands down, no question. So everybody has to answer. Do I have to answer this? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Got it. It has to be. It has to be because people fight over that. Yeah, exactly.
Right. You know, like it's a serious thing out there. Don't get on the table if you don't know what you're doing.
Don't be like, I kind of know. No, son, no.
All right, question 3. Which university did Michelle Obama attend for undergrad? Was it A, Howard, B, Yale,
I wish.
University of Chicago, or D, Princeton?
I believe it was Princeton.
It was, yes, you got that one right. So you're 3 for 3 right now. You're like,
yeah.
All right, so we have 2 more. And let's get that 4th one up there. Who is Prince Hakeem's silky smooth rival in Coming to America? Was it A, Randy Watson, B, Tommy, C, Leo McDowell, or D, Daryl?
Daryl.
Come on, Daryl. Yeah, you got that one right. All right, so
my favorite movie. There's no question there I won't remember.
The audience looks like they got that correct too. So good job out there.
Randy Watson is a trick. It's a trick to deceive you because, you know, he was very silky smooth, but that wasn't his rival. And Cleo McDowell is tricky too because McDowell was the name of Sherry Headley's family. But anyway.
Yeah, it's easy to get tripped up on that one. All right. So
not for me. It's my favorite movie. I have it memorized.
So our last question, I believe it's also a majority rules. Let's see. Yeah, so what holiday do you always make it to church?
Oh boy. Okay.
Is it A, New Year's Eve?
Yeah.
B, Easter, C, Mother's Day, or D, Christmas?
Okay, this is tricky because if you're Pentecostal, it's actually New Year's Eve, but I'm going to say Easter.
That's actually my answer as well. Let's see what the audience chose.
It has to be Easter because my mom.
Yeah, it has to be. Yeah.
Right.
But if you're one of the like girls can only wear skirts, Pentecostal, like cartwheels down the aisle, it's New Year's Eve. And in the Midwest, especially, trust me. But yes, I knew it would be Easter majority. Okay, got it. I won.
You go. You got 5 for 5. That was awesome. Good job.
And the first one almost messed me up. All I could think of was Professor Ogilvy. I could not think of his first name. I was like, I know it's not Philip.
So with that being said, I'm going to pass it back over to Ariana so she can close us out.
Yeah, no. Well, first of all, I'm very relieved that you kept your black card after, you know, that was a shame if it got revoked here in the Zoom. Well, my final question for you is just what else is next? I feel like you're always doing a million things. You always have a lot of stuff happening. So what else is happening for Robin Thede in 2020 and into 2021?
So many things. I have some announcements coming out, so I can't say them right now, but like literally tomorrow they're gonna come out or the next day. So lots of big things, lots of big things. But what I can tell you is that I will continue to keep Black women at the center of my work. I will continue to make you laugh, and I will continue to fight for us so our doors stay open for the rest of all time.
We appreciate you for that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, please keep us posted on all of the announcements and also when a Black Lady Sketch Show is returning, because we all need to tune in. We got ratings and those views. We got to be part of the millions. So
Listen, everybody, I want to thank everybody for their support, because this show does not happen without Black women, period. Not only in front of the camera and behind the scenes, period. But also just supporting it. Like, it's because of y'all that the word got out. And it's because of y'all that, you know, we were able to even, like, it doesn't matter about being on HBO either. Like, there's plenty of shows that no matter what the network, they kind of get lost. And like, we had an army. And this is a very tough thing to call something a Black Lady Sketch Show and fulfill that promise. But Sandy, like you were saying, we wanted to show that Black women can do so many different things and that we are not all the same, and we're not all from the same family. Some of us are Afro-Caribbean. Some of us are, you know, Jamaican American. Not everybody's African American. Some people don't know their lineage. Like, some people are raised on the coast, some in the South, some in the Midwest. Like, we all come from such different backgrounds, and we're all put under the same, you know, stereotypes so much of the time. And I think only when we're in charge of our voices are we able to really show the breadth of what Black women can be. And we've only just begun on this show, so I cannot wait to make season 2.
well, thank you for the work that you do and for always putting us front and center. And thank you for joining us today. This has been so lovely. It's always a joy when I get to talk to you, but I'm so glad everyone here in Hearst Black Culture also got to as well.
Yay.
Yeah.
Have you in person. I mean, once quarantine is all over, we'll have you back.
Oh,
If this ever ends.
let's get Kamala in there and then we'll figure it out.
Yeah. First things first.
Election first. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Robin. Have a great night, and we will see you soon.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.